Hi, I'm Jess, on the way to work at forthelandlords.com. We make life easy for landlords, we help them build their empire, and we show them how they can love the job of being a landlord again. So what I want to talk to you about today, I was speaking to a couple of clients 2 weeks ago actually, and a thought popped into my head, and I think some people might be missing a trick. You might know that we have a product called Handhold. It finds a house, fixes a house, and rents a house out for a client if they haven't got the time, skill or inclination, which, let's face it, almost everybody hasn't got one or two or all three of those things. You know, even if you've got the time, you might not have got the skill or the inclination. We have people who have definitely got the time, they've got the skill, they already own 20 houses maybe, they just haven't got the inclination to do it anymore. It's hard work building a property empire. So Handhold delivers your property portfolio, keeps it growing, we do all the hard work. You might also know that we operate in the East Midlands and we focus on high yielding houses, high yielding properties. Clients come to us, they've got capital to deploy, they're almost always looking for cash flow. So that's not the point, that's background. Where we are, have great yield, so it's natural that people focus in on that. Just to give you a bit more background, houses we buy are roughly, the tenants have got roughly the national average income, but the houses we buy are roughly half the national average to buy. So, you know, you can see that we can do 8 to 10% yields all day long because we buy a house, do it up, add value. It has to be said, most of the houses we buy in this end are cash, so most Handhold clients down this end of the scale are cash buyers with sort of 80 to 100,000 pounds to spend. However, we buy a house, we do it up, and if you do that, you can recycle some money out, and at that point you get some silly ROIs because the actual amount of money you've got left in the deal is negligible. So, but yeah, 8 to 10% gross yield without any messing around, without trying. So, like I say, background. People come to us with cash flow as the thing that's at the front of their mind, and rightly so. It's a great way to buy a house. If you say, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to add some value, I'm going to extract my money, I'm going to make sure it makes money every single month, but capital growth is a bonus, what a great way to buy a property. You're never going to be under any stress. You're going to have a property, you'll be able to own it for the long term, you're never going to be forced to sell it, you'll be able to pay the mortgage out of the rent easily, and that point is easily. You know, this whole thing's meant to make your life better, not pile on stress. If you know a broken boiler in a year and a tenant that misses one payment of rent is going to shut you down, then that's not the good way to build your empire. If you have 10 of those, you're going to be having some sleepless nights. 10 of those properties, you know. We want to make sure that every property we buy makes your life better. So what a great way to buy a property, to focus on the yield. However, I think that some people are missing the fact that the main point, the main reason for buying properties and holding on to them and renting them out, yeah, the rent's great, but the main point is the capital growth over 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I hear things, and I heard it again with these three clients. One of them said, yeah, but does a 50 or 60,000 pound house ever go up in value? And I said, and I had to check myself, and that's why it's taken me 2 weeks to make the video, because I had to go back and do a bit of research. I said, yes, and not only that, but we have never bought a 50,000 pound house and not had it double in 5 years. I had to go and check myself, and I can report that is absolutely true. There are 1 or 2 houses where a surveyor believed that it was, you know, a 50, 60,000 pound house was only worth 105, 110, not the full 120 at the 5-year point. They were wrong. There are a couple where, honestly, we couldn't tell you exactly the 5-year point, but you know, you roll it on to the 6, or just because we didn't refinance at the time. So 7 years, 8 years, and it's well on its way. I've got one, we bought it for £50,000, and it's now worth £150,000 8 years later. It's not bad going. And all the rent all amongst that time. So also there's another interesting statistic, and it's to do with the cheaper houses rely more on mortgages. We know what mortgages availability has happened over the last decade. It went rapidly down, it's come slowly back up. A cheaper house usually will have somebody who lives it, owner occupier we're talking about, who relies more heavily on a high loan to value mortgage. Therefore actually the cheaper houses are more susceptible to a price drop because if there's a tightening of credit. bit technical, but it's true. And what it does mean is, and this is sort of the proof point, I guess, if you think about a £50,000 house doubling to £100,000, and then you think about a £500,000 house doubling to £1 million, which one's more likely? You just know it in your head which one's right, don't you? So these cheap houses, yes, they do go up. They go up more and better. Look at the stats surrounding our area of the Midlands. Yeah, property prices are going down or going up slowly in other areas. We're getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. Plus, we're buying cheap, so really we don't operate in the normal market. We operate in a wholesale market, if you like. So, capital growth, it's the main point. That is what I wanted to share with you on this video. What do I want you to do about it? If you have never been to see us, come and see us. Book onto a discovery day. We schedule 2 of these days every month there, where we meet people, new clients, potential clients. Come along, we'll show you everything we do, how we do it. You get the opportunity to ask all the questions that you need to ask and get all the answers that you need. So come along and see us. That's the first step. If you've already met us, you are the most sad group, and we see it often. You've already met us, and you're going to come back 2 years later, and I'm going to find you the house that we were looking at, or one similar, hopefully the one you were actually looking at and didn't buy, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to show you what our client did actually end up buying, because we've never not bought a house. Don't forget that if we sell a house, we buy it. So I'm going to show you what our client bought. They've had the rent all the time throughout that 3, 4, 5 years, and now it's worth that £120,000, and here's what you could have had. Don't let that be you for the much longer. Come back, see us, make sure you buy a house. Pick up the phone, buy a house today. Pick up the phone, speak to us and say, have you got anything available today? Buy it. The last group, and this is the most stubborn group, and one of the clients that I was speaking to falls into this group. You know who you are, hello. Because he said, the houses you bought me, he's got 5 with us, and another 20 or 30 elsewhere. 5 of us. The houses you bought me are the best ones in my portfolio. I could do with some more of those. Well, why haven't you then? Why haven't you called us up? Why haven't you bought them? He said, it's a good point. We send the videos out, we send emails out, we keep talking to people. Anybody's welcome to come back to the Discovery Day. If you've been a client of ours for the last 3, 4, 5 years, come back. We've got some good new ideas, we've got some new areas, we've got new things that we're doing. Come and find out about them and grow your empire, build your empire. Today's the day you need to make the phone call and get things moving again. So, book to come and see us at Discovery Day, pick up the phone to buy a house. I hope to see you all soon. Bye. The last question was, is the market saturated? I really don't think so, no. More people have gone to HMOs recently. I think that happens any time that interest rates go up or the market tightens a little bit, as it has done recently. But I know guys who have been doing HMOs since the 1960s. I've been doing HMOs for 15 years. The trick is,